Welcome to the Women of the Future interview series, a project aimed at showcasing and celebrating the top female changemakers in Web3 and the Metaverse using emerging technologies as a force for good in the real world. This initiative aims to amplify the voices of these leaders and innovators to inspire future leaders to ensure women not only get their deserved seat at the table, but that they get to drive the narratives. It's my pleasure today as Elizabeth Irizarry to introduce to you Kate Hancock. Kate is Web3 Board of Advisors. She is a keynote speaker, serial entrepreneur, many amazing things. Welcome, Kate, and congratulations on being selected as one of the 100 Women of the Future.
I am so honored. Thank you, Elizabeth. And wow, what a great collection of, highly driven women in the world. So I'm honored to be part of it.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to have you here today. We've gotten to know each other quite a bit. So it's so exciting to kind of rehear you tell your story here a little bit. I always like to start this series with tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, what led you to Web3? How did you end up here?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I grew up in a small island in the Philippines called 𝗀𝗵𝗃. Not having much. I work at early age, as early as 12, moved to United States right after college. I was working several jobs and it landed me selling e-commerce. So in a Web 2.0 space, I was selling beauty products on Amazon, starting from $20. I scale it to 7-figure, 8-figure, and was able to diversify and invest in other businesses like in hospitality, real estate, and a beauty business. And it's such an easy transition merging to Web 2.5 and Web 3. I think I'm obsessed with data. I love algorithm. It's a challenge for me. And so looking at everything, what's in front of me, it really excites me. It reminds me of the same opportunity when I started my e-commerce business in 2012. So definitely it's the right timing at the right time. The right timing at the right place. And so I'm very excited. And here we are. I'm advising some companies that build, e-commerce store in the metaverse. So really I'm passionate about that.
What an exciting journey. It just perfectly flowed. I love that you said it reminded you of that time of when you started your e-commerce in 2012. I feel like a lot of people are starting to feel like this, oh my God, this is we're right at the cusp of something new and they don't want to miss out. And they're like, I'm not going to miss out on this time like I did last time. So more people are just kind of jumping in, trying to learn more, trying to be involved, trying to be a part of this emerging technology. But of course, with all of this technology, there are a few challenges. And I love to ask this question because it's kind of how we learn to solve, right? Those challenges become solutions in the future. So obviously we have to make sure that this becomes universal, that more people adopt the technology, multiple technologies that make up Web3 and the metaverse. What are some opportunities that you see happening in the next 5 years that could solve for some of the challenges for today?
Yeah, well, there's a lot. Let's talk about social impact because I love the mission of social impact for, the top 100 women of the future. When it comes to social impact with blockchain technology, it really minimize corruption. I'm not expecting it to be full on solve the problem, but the idea is we see all the money goes and it really goes to the people who needs the money, right? Because everything is recorded on a ledger. So that I'm very excited. And even for people in the remote parts of the world where they don't even have access to banks, and the fact that they can open a wallet and get paid with their small business, that's I'm very excited about. It's that low barrier and open to everyone who can thrive and make a living. It's what I'm excited about Web3. Now, with what we're doing now, I think it's really solving a lot of efficiency when it comes to running a business. I mean, Elizabeth, when you buy a property, you have to sign 20 pages of documents and have to do a lot of middleman. And that really gives you a lot of a headache. Or even getting funding with banks, you have to do a lot of, or even transferring money, like a big bulk of money, you have to wait for so many days clearing checks. I mean, how efficient, and we can move things faster and efficient with the technology. I'm very excited about that.
I love that because it's true that we often spend so much time in the process, the heavy process driven. And in this like new age that we are, we still find that it's heavy and some things are so taxing. And so I feel like it may diminish the opportunity for some folks who are, are trying to move forward with their business, but the process is taking so long, they can't get the funds, even like, in a startup world. In a startup world, you may get a yes, but it doesn't mean you have the money in your bank account. The process is quite heavy and the paperwork is quite heavy. So I agree with this. I think the technology can definitely solve for a lot of these problems. So I'd like to ask you, looking back on your journey, knowing what you know now, like, what is one piece of advice you would have given yourself along the way?
Oh my God, I wish, well, I bootstrap majority of my companies, and I did it the hard way, right? I mean, I'm not saying I did not learn from it, but I wish I did not use my own money to reinvest. So definitely, if I can tell my younger myself, it would be take funding and investment from other people.
And that's great advice. And I think that actually brings me to like some of the things that we're facing now in this bear market is like getting funding is not necessarily the easiest route at the moment. Have you had any experience with this? Is there any insights that you can lend on how to like kind of stay the course and continue on the work? Because some people may feel some discouragement with, the current challenges that we're facing.
Well, right now, this is the worst time to raise money, right? But there's other, like for example, banks, they have a different offering for each, industry. So I think I would say just don't give up if they'll say no when you need money, because they can smell that you're desperate. So look for money when you don't need money. That's the best thing that you can do for yourself and your company.
That's great advice. And I like that don't look desperate. Otherwise, they can smell that in you. That's great. I love to hear that. So I want to know from your opinion, kind of what do you see once, someone gets funding for a project? There's a lot of projects out there for a lot of potential uses for, Web3. In your opinion, like what are the projects that can truly deliver impact? Like from your perspective, what are the kinds of projects you wish to see?
Yeah, I think the creators that make a living out of it is such a beautiful thing. And I think for me, it's really is having the opportunity to make a living out of it is such a beautiful thing. And I think for me, it's really is having the opportunity for everyone to make a living. Like, I'm not talking about art, but like getting involved in a technology where it's open to everyone. I think the mental health impact, I'm really excited. Elizabeth, I got a chance to experience this company in Amsterdam where you can sit there and it feels like you're really meditating. And so that really helps with the challenges that we're having with mental health crisis, where it's so hard to even get a psychologist, 6 weeks of waiting list. The fact that you can sit in it looks like a sauna, and you're really in a deep meditation state, and that really helps you, puts you in a better performance, better life, better living in day to day. So that I'm very excited about. Some VR technology that you're helping for PTSD and depression. I think that's way more excited about.
And I think what we're starting to see in the space now is like we've weeded out the projects that were just, based on hype. And we're starting to find projects that are, truly solving problems. And it's like, what are the needs? And of course, well-being is one of them. And so like, how do we support mental health, especially in a world of like this, like, vast amount of technology use. And so I like that you said, like this meditation, I myself have experienced, my first time putting on a headset was doing something that like transformed, my experience. And I was like somewhere else. And then I started, getting my own and then doing meditations with it. And I was like, wow, there's so much power here. The technology could truly solve for so much. What are you most excited about for the future? Let's say 5-10 years from now, like obviously in Web3 terms, that's like a century, but what is something that you're so excited about? Maybe something with what you're working on and how you envision it looking like in the future.
Yeah, I think what I'm really excited is like kids can explore utilizing a small sunglasses where they can see some other parts of the world where normally they can't afford to to experience it, right? That access to, okay, I can experience the world, learn in an immersive way is what I'm excited about. Me growing up in a small island in the Philippines with not really have that technology in front of me. I just got lucky that I was able to move out of um, that tiny island. But for small, kid that can really explore and get inspired and do something about it by just a single, hopefully an eyeglass, right? I think I'm really excited of like exploring sitting in your home, but you're going to learn a lot. I think that's what I'm very excited about. The VR XR mixed reality is really the big feature of the Web3, a chunk of Web3 space.
I agree. And I think those experiences are the ones that transform and take us across, like cross functions that we're used to already. And of course, this technology, like ultimately is going to break some of these like barriers of cross communication. It's going to make it more diverse. That's the hope anyway. But of course, like one of the things that, this book is focused on is, equity and gender equity. So making sure that more women have the exposure to the space or get the opportunities. And so that's what we're focused on doing. How, and from your perspective, can women achieve true gender equity in the crypto and Web3 space?
We have a big community of women leading the charge in the space of Web3. That I am very hopeful and excited. I think we really need to put ourselves out there. It's still very difficult. If you see, it's still becoming Web 2.0, who has the best connection, who knows someone, gets to speak on stage. But we really need to leveling up the field. But it's up to us to put ourselves out there, whether, break that beard, overthinking, or imposter syndrome. Just get out there, speak, and utilize other people's stage. And there's, time to learn and upkeep with whatever education, or be an expert of a topic that you wanting to be. If you wanted to be a speaker or a thought leader in a space and do business, if you have some backgrounds that you can really tap into.
I love that. Often women typically are, tougher with themselves. And so they may not be as willing to put themselves out there because they don't believe that they are experts. And so maybe they are experts in their field, but they may lack some of that confidence. And so I love that you're assuring them that it's so important to get out there and not miss out on an opportunity. Because I feel like much of what we focus on doing in our communities is provide education, provide empowerment. So the women see this book, when they open this book, it's like, Kate, like what legacy do you want to leave behind, right? And I think I'll ask you that question. What is the kind of legacy you would love to leave behind and to inspire, like motivate other women as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in this age of immersive, and even in this Web 2.0 world, attention is the new currency. You can't be quiet anymore. For you to get, funding, to get speaking gig, a business opportunity, project opportunity, or whatever you're doing, attention is the new currency. And we need to, as women, we need to be out there.
I wrote this down. Attention is the new currency. I love it. That's a really good point. I mean, we live in this age of like social media where now it's like TikTok came in, and now even on Instagram, we're no longer just doing posts, we're doing reels. And so like everything just keeps getting upgraded, and it's like, it could be, a tough environment for some that are maybe more introverted, where they're trying to say like, how do I stay afloat in this world of having to like display everything? And so I know that it could be quite challenging, but at the end, it's like that attention that creates opportunity.
Absolutely. And we can't be shy anymore. And, attention, that doesn't mean you have to be braggy about everything, right? You can curate it the right way that's impactful.
I love that. And Kate, just because I know so much about your background and like all the amazing things that you've done, and you briefly told us, where you were raised and how you got here and the opportunities and the businesses that you've built. So can you share some of that limelight with us? Like all the challenges, but like not just the challenges, like how you did it. How did you manage to do all those amazing things that you did? Take your business from $20 to 7 to 8 figures. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it really, Elizabeth, it really requires grit. And I have to say, I have to sacrifice my health. I have to pay for it, right? I was not sleeping. I was working 13, 15 hours a day. But I have to say, having the right team and the right mentor will get you there. You can run a company without you running it. I mean, it sounds so simple, but it's very hard for a solo entrepreneur to embrace. But if you wanted to control everything, you're only going to be good as your hand can reach. You can't go far. So you need to have team. You need to learn how to empower your team, but make sure they know what direction you're going. That is the key. Like having the vision. I mean, I know the mission impact is really big in vision. That's the first thing that you need to put in place and have everyone buy into that vision, and then everything would just flow. But I think for me, having the right mentor and finding a community like Mission Impact who can support you, what is your next move or strategy?
I love that. Thanks for sharing that. I think it's so important to have a team because you said something and I wrote it down. You are only as good as your hand can reach. And that is not very far. So you have to make sure you have a team. I think that is such an important thing. And that's why we build community, to find people that can support our ideas, our projects, and vice versa. This is incredible. I love hearing kind of, your insights and your journey, because for some, it's like we're all looking for how to make it, right? To a degree, everyone's trying to make their businesses succeed, their ideas succeed, and this industry, specifically Web3 and the world of the metaverse, is all about creators. It's all about small businesses. It's all about solving for problems with the technology that we have, but solving for issues that isn't being solved with the technology that we have. So it kind of all goes hand in hand. So I like hearing your insights because I know that this could be such valuable information. So Kate, thanks again so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure having you. Are there any lasting words for when the second the woman opens that book? Like, what do you want her to know?
I have to say, this is a new technology, so you have to be very careful that it makes sense for you, because you can't be creative when you're starving, right? If your project after 2 years is not really paying you off, you need to move on and figure out what's next. Sometimes it's hard for women to accept, like, this is really not working. You can't go that far of embracing a dream that's not getting funding. You have to be quick and pivot. So pivoting is the way for you to be successful. What's next?
Ooh, that's really good advice. Pivot. I mean, life always brings you surprises. And if you stay the course, sometimes it might not be the right one. So this is great advice. Kate, this has been fantastic. As always, congratulations and thank you. Where do we find you? How do we connect with you?
Yeah, so you can go to katehancock.com, or I'm always active on LinkedIn. So thank you, Elizabeth.
Absolutely. Thank you.